The morning sun cast long shadows across the quiet neighborhood as Marcus Wilson stepped out onto his porch. At 42, his broad shoulders and 6'3" frame commanded respect, though few in this small Georgia town knew the weight of the medals hidden in his dresser drawer. Marcus breathed in the fresh air, savoring the rare calm that came with being home on leave. "Another day in paradise," he murmured, his deep voice barely audible as he stretched his neck from side to side. 14 years in Delta Force had hardened every inch of his 250-pound body. The scars that crisscrossed his dark skin told stories of missions in countries most Americans couldn't find on a map. But here, in his hometown of Riverdale, he was just Marcus, the boy who'd left after high school and returned only for brief visits. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother: "Don't forget the groceries for Sunday dinner." Marcus smiled. After months of planning high-risk extractions and counter-terrorism operations, buying groceries seemed almost laughably simple. He grabbed his car keys and wallet, deciding to walk the 6 blocks to Hartwell's Market rather than drive. The commander needed the exercise, needed to feel connected to the real world again. In his plain blue t-shirt and jeans, no one would guess that beneath his casual demeanor lay one of America's most elite soldiers. Just a quick trip, he said to himself, unaware that the next hour would demand every ounce of his training and restraint. Hartwell's Market hummed with the familiar buzz of Saturday morning shopping. Marcus navigated the aisles methodically, his shopping basket filling with his mother's requests. As he reached for a bag of flour on the top shelf, he noticed them, 4 men in their 20s, huddled near the store entrance, throwing glances his way. Their matching red bandanas and hostile stares set off immediate alarms in Marcus's trained mind. "Look at this big one," one of them muttered loudly enough for Marcus to hear. "Bet he can't even read the labels." Marcus clenched his jaw but continued shopping. He'd faced death in 11 countries, ignorant comments weren't worth his energy. But as he moved to the produce section, the group followed, their movements deliberate, predatory. "Hey, Trent," the tallest one called out, his voice sharp with malice. "Didn't your daddy's store get robbed by one of them last month? Maybe we should check his pockets." The one called Trent, stocky with a shaved head and tattoos crawling up his neck, stepped forward. "This is our town, big man. Your kind shops at the corner store, not here." A middle-aged woman nearby hurriedly pushed her cart away. The lone cashier, a teenage boy, stared wide-eyed but remained frozen behind the counter. "I'm just here for groceries," Marcus stated calmly, though his senses had already shifted to combat awareness. He catalogued their positions, noted potential weapons, identified exits. "No need for trouble." "Trouble found you the minute you walked in here," Trent sneered, stepping closer, his friends forming a half-circle around Marcus. "And you're about to find out exactly how much." Marcus carefully set his basket down on the floor. His movements were deliberate, non-threatening. Years of hostage negotiations and high-stakes standoffs had taught him that the right words could sometimes prevent bloodshed. "Listen. My name is Marcus Wilson. I grew up on Maple Street. My mother still lives there, and I'm just picking up ingredients for her Sunday dinner." His voice remained steady, resonant. "I don't want any problems with you men today." Trent faltered momentarily, confusion flickering across his face. The tactical pause gave Marcus an opening. "You all can walk out that door right now. Nobody's been hurt. Nothing's happened that can't be forgotten." Marcus raised his empty palms in a universal gesture of peace. "I suggest we all go our separate ways." "You threatening us?" demanded the tallest one, his hand slipping toward his back pocket. "Not at all," Marcus replied, noting the movement. "I'm offering a solution where everyone wins." The youngest of the group, barely out of his teens, seemed uncertain, taking a half-step back. For a moment, Marcus thought his words might have landed. De-escalation was always preferable to confrontation, that's what separated professionals from thugs. "You think you're smart, don't you?" Trent's face twisted with renewed hatred. "Talking all proper. Acting like you belong here. I do belong here, Marcus said firmly. Same as you. Same as anyone. Trent spat on the floor. Last chance to leave before we make you wish you'd never set foot in this store. Marcus sighed. His psychological assessment of the situation was clear. Trent needed this confrontation, craved it. Some men were beyond reasoning with. The attack came without warning. Trent lunged forward, swinging a heavy fist toward Marcus's face. With minimal movement, Marcus shifted his weight, the blow missing by centimeters. The momentum carried Trent stumbling forward, his face registering shock at hitting nothing but air. Don't do this, Marcus warned one final time. The warning went unheeded. The tallest one, Rick, based on what the others called him, pulled a switchblade from his back pocket. The metallic click echoed in the suddenly silent store. Hold him, Daryl. Rick shouted. The third man tried to grab Marcus from behind, but years of close-quarters combat had honed Marcus's awareness to near-superhuman levels. He sensed the movement before he saw it. Everyone stay back, the teenage cashier called out, his voice cracking. He reached for the store phone. I'm calling the police. Put that phone down unless you want trouble too, boy. Trent snarled, his attention momentarily diverted. That split second of distraction was all the fourth gang member needed to knock over a display of glass jars. They shattered across the floor, sending pickled vegetables and broken glass in all directions. A woman screamed from the back of the store. Marcus registered an elderly couple hurrying toward the exit. Rick lunged with the knife, aiming for Marcus's abdomen. The blade sliced through the air as Marcus pivoted slightly. The knife caught his t-shirt, tearing fabric but missing flesh. You're making a serious mistake, Marcus stated, his voice now deadly quiet. Trent grabbed a heavy can from a nearby shelf and hurled it at Marcus's head with surprising force. Marcus ducked, and the can crashed into a stack of cereal boxes behind him. Get him! Get the big man! Trent shouted, his face contorted with rage, spittle flying from his lips. All four attacked at once, surrounding Marcus in the narrow aisle. The confined space limited his options. A knife blade flashed again. Someone grabbed at his collar from behind. The situation had escalated beyond reasoning, beyond peaceful resolution. Marcus took a deep breath. The world slowed down around him as his combat training fully engaged. Time seemed to dilate as Marcus's Delta Force training took over. His movements became fluid, economical, precise. No wasted energy. No unnecessary force. As Rick thrust the knife forward again, Marcus caught the wrist with his left hand, applying pressure to the radial nerve with surgical precision. The knife clattered to the floor as Rick howled in pain, his fingers instantly numb. In the same motion, Marcus twisted the arm behind Rick's back, leveraging the taller man's momentum against him. Stay down, Marcus commanded, using Rick's body as a momentary shield against Trent's renewed charge. Trent collided with his friend, both men stumbling backward into a shelf. Marcus released Rick, who slumped against canned goods, clutching his wrist. Daryl lunged from the left, throwing a wild haymaker that telegraphed his intentions 3 seconds before impact. Marcus parried the blow with his forearm, redirecting the energy while stepping inside Daryl's guard. A quick palm strike to the sternum, controlled, restrained, but sufficient, sent Daryl gasping for air as he dropped to one knee. Police are coming, the cashier shouted, phone now in hand. The youngest member of the gang hesitated, fear replacing bravado in his eyes. Then he reached into his pocket and produced brass knuckles, slipping them onto his trembling fingers. You should leave while you can, son, Marcus advised him calmly, even as he sidestepped Trent's clumsy tackle attempt. Trent crashed into a display of paper towels, knocking them over. As he scrambled to his feet, his face was a mask of pure hatred. Who the hell are you? Marcus didn't answer. The fourth attacker swung the brass knuckles in a wide arc. Marcus caught the wrist mid-swing, applied a joint lock with mathematical precision, and guided the young man face first into a shelf of bread loaves. The brass knuckles fell from limp fingers. Non-lethal neutralization, Marcus muttered to himself, the battlefield terminology reflexive after years of operations. Rick had recovered enough to retrieve his knife. He slashed wildly, adrenaline overriding technique. Marcus stepped back, calculating trajectory and velocity by pure instinct. When Rick overextended, Marcus moved. One strike to the ulnar nerve. Another to the brachial plexus. A swept leg. Rick collapsed, the knife skittering across the floor toward the produce section. Trent, the last one standing, looked around at his fallen friends. Blood trickled from his nose where he'd hit the floor. His confidence evaporated, replaced by dawning comprehension that he'd badly misjudged the situation. "What? What are you?" he stammered. "Just a man buying groceries for his mother," Marcus replied, not even breathing hard. "A man who gave you every chance to walk away." Police cruisers screeched to a halt outside, their lights painting the store windows in alternating red and blue. Two officers burst through the door, weapons drawn. "Hands up! Everyone on the ground now," shouted the older officer, a heavy-set man with a thick mustache. Marcus immediately complied, raising his hands and slowly kneeling on the floor. The four gang members remained sprawled where they had fallen, groaning. "He attacked us," Trent shouted, finding his voice. "4 against 1 and he still beat us up." "He's crazy, Officer Briggs." The younger policeman, barely 30, with close-cropped hair and nervous eyes, trained his weapon directly on Marcus. "Don't move an inch, big man." Officer Briggs surveyed the scene, his expression hardening when his gaze fell on Marcus. "You did all this?" he asked, gesturing at the fallen men, the scattered merchandise, the broken glass. "I defended myself," Marcus replied calmly. "They had a knife and brass knuckles. There are witnesses." The teenage cashier stepped forward, his voice shaking. "It's true, Officer Briggs. Those guys attacked him first. They were harassing him because I'm black," Marcus finished quietly. Officer Briggs narrowed his eyes, looking from the gang to Marcus and back again. The younger officer's hand tightened on his weapon. "Cuff him," Officer Briggs said finally. "We'll sort this out at the station." The younger officer approached Marcus, handcuffs ready. Trent's bloodied face split into a triumphant smile. Once again, Marcus found himself facing injustice in his hometown. "Hold on a second." A new voice cut through the tension. An older woman emerged from behind a display of paper towels, her silver hair gleaming under the fluorescent lights. Mrs. Eleanor Simmons, Marcus's 10th grade history teacher. She stepped between Marcus and the approaching officer. "I saw everything, Officer Briggs." This man was defending himself after repeatedly trying to avoid confrontation. "These 4 attacked him with weapons." She pointed a finger at Trent. "And yes, they targeted him because he's black. I heard every word." The store manager hurried in from the back office, already pulling up security footage on his tablet. "We've got it all on camera, officers. Clear as day." The younger officer hesitated, glancing at Briggs for direction. Before he could get it, the store doors swung open again. A tall man in a crisp military uniform strode in, Colonel James Peterson from the nearby base, shopping in civilian clothes earlier, now returned in full dress. "That's Commander Marcus Wilson you're about to handcuff," the colonel stated flatly. "One of the most decorated Delta Force operators in the United States military. Currently on leave between missions that I can't discuss in this setting." Officer Briggs's face drained of color. "Delta Force?" "Yes." The colonel's voice was steel. "The man who single-handedly extracted 3 hostages from terrorists in conditions I'm not at liberty to describe. The man who has saved more American lives than everyone in this room combined. That man." The younger officer immediately lowered his handcuffs. Trent's smile vanished. "I believe," continued the colonel, "that your body cameras captured Mrs. Simmons's testimony and will match the store security footage. I suggest you arrest the actual perpetrators." Justice shifted in an instant. Within minutes, the 4 gang members were handcuffed and led away, the knife and brass knuckles catalogued as evidence. As the commotion subsided, Marcus finally retrieved his abandoned shopping basket. His mother was still waiting for her Sunday dinner ingredients. "Commander," said the colonel with a respectful nod, "would you join me for coffee when you're done here? I think the Pentagon would be interested in your continued service, perhaps in a training capacity. We need more men like you showing the next generation what real strength and restraint look like." Marcus nodded, a slight smile crossing his face. "Yes, sir. Right after I deliver these groceries to my mother." Sometimes dignity wasn't just about what you stood against, but what you stood for. And sometimes justice, though delayed, still found its way home.